Meet Gosa, the main character of this episode, my beautiful friend, former studio colleague, and the creator of my favorite tattoo ever. A few episodes ago, I spoke about creativity and the constant search for sources of inspiration. I've already learned I usually find it in other people, in conversation, their creations, or sometimes just from simply observing them. That's why I wanted to do a series of episodes with people who I find inspiring and believe we can learn a lot from. Sometimes when I plan these videos in my head and then write them, I feel like it's some kind of self-therapy or mindfulness exercise, and this time was no different. I thought about all things I've learned from Gosa and the influence she had on myself. Apart from all the technical art knowledge she shared with me over the past few years, I've learned how to set boundaries, to continuously work on your mental and physical well-being with courage and playfulness, express yourself unapologetically, and how great it is to be weird. I'm sure seeing her work will make you understand it better.
Yeah, so the small ones over here, I think, are like first lockdown. Then it's a real mix between some lockdowns and the ones which are on the very bottom. They're works which I did when I studied at Bauhaus University in Weimar.
Oh, wow.
And before I started tattooing, I was really into abstract painting. In fact, I think for like 7 years was the only thing I did.
And
Great
before
times.
that, what kind of stuff did you paint? I'm interested in when it switched, and do you know why?
It really switched when I went to study art. Yeah, when I started studying fine art in UK, I was 28. So yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but the first time we ever met, I was still in uni and we were talking about it, and I remember you saying that when you applied for uni, you knew exactly what you want to learn, and that after graduation you're gonna go work for this well-known artist in his studio. And I was really shocked because I started uni when I was 19, and most of my colleagues were as well, and no one really knew what they wanted to do. I wanted to kind of find out how you knew.
Yeah, I guess I was just brave to dream, or brave to follow my ideas and desires. So I think that's how I knew. And I was 28 when I went to study again. Previously I studied psychology, and I've done many different jobs. So by the time I was 28, I knew that whatever it's going to be that I'm going to do in my life, it has to include art, and I think I should really go and study it, Also, because where I lived, I knew that they are artists, big artists were working around, and they need people to work for them. So I was like, well, that's just like obvious thing to do, to go to university, and the next step, go and learn from the best. So yeah, and it happened, even though I wasn't making this happen consciously, I had idea, this is what I wanted, and then I just totally forgot about it. So, but it took me years to get there,
Well, I'm glad that you did, because you not only dreamt big, but also went and did it. And I like how you say that you went to learn from the best, because I feel like a lot of young people who study art would say that you're not the artist, and the artist you worked for is not an artist, because you paint his ideas, and he's not the one who's painting, which is not really what it's all about, right?
Yeah, I think it's very romantic idea of what it means to make art and what kind of art you want to make, and what kind of art you go to see. You know, where do you go to see your art? And I can guarantee you that the big exhibitions you see are, you know, organized by many people. And the works are done also by multiple people, but and it's great, you know. It doesn't take away from the artwork.
Like we once said before, that if a tattoo artist is doing a realism piece and the photograph is like not everything in this design is his, it doesn't mean that he's not an artist. He still gives his own touch into it. And
yeah, of course. And you know, drawing or tattooing realism, it's really difficult, you know. If someone says that this is not art, I mean, like they have got stuff they have to work on. You know, because it is, and it's really difficult to do it. And if you're saying that it's not, and you criticize people who do so, I dare you, go for it. Show me what you can do.
they are probably the people who say, "Oh, I could do that." Everyone can do it.
Of course. And I think you should. Yeah.
You said before that you've done quite a lot of them during lockdown. Did you find like that this period of time brought some change into your practice?
Yeah, in a big way, because before lockdown I was very much going into conceptual art and doing performance pieces, and I lived in Stroud back then, and I had studio at Stroud Valley Arts, and they gave me plenty of space to explore other, you know, areas of art. And I think of abstract drawing, you know, very conceptually as well. So yeah, I wasn't drawing that much. So going to lockdown and having like all this time I wanted ever, and just to focus on painting.
I've noticed for the past couple of years that we've known each other that you like to switch between different mediums. Does it make a big difference for you?
Yeah, because I kind of like them all. I just use them, you know, and play with them when I feel like they give me what I want to achieve. Okay, so there is a purpose in that. And now I am really into painting with acrylics, you know, and I haven't done it in a long time, but now this is the main thing how I work. Yeah, I love this work. Yeah.
So good. Do you have some of the ones with stitching on them in here?
No, they are. I can grab them. They're in another room.
Yeah, I think we should have a look at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is more sculpture.
Yeah, I always been really drawn to line drawing, you know, and I've been collecting pieces of fabric for a long time because I've got all those different ideas how I want them to exist in like form of sculptures, and I've got my sewing machine, so like again I'm kind of very slowly moving towards like a big project, big idea.
Do you think tattooing somehow influenced some of your work?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, before I started tattooing, my work was mostly abstract. As soon as there was something I could recognize in it, I wanted to change it so it didn't exist, you know. And I was getting some kind of pleasure out of it. And I love, you know, blind abstract drawing. So when I started tattooing, I really needed to spend some time just and draw things, you know, and kind of switch my brain,
Big
you know.
difference,
Yeah, it was a big difference. And then, like, you can see this now in my work as well, you know, all those things I draw for tattooing started slowly creeping into my painting practice, and I'm really enjoying what's coming out.
Yeah. So I might be wrong, but I think sometime last year you started to create more work inspired by Warsaw and the area where you come from. Do you remember when it happened or what inspired this process?
I do. As I've been, you know, as I've been practicing art for a long time now, I see that the way I'm working is changing over time. So having creating this series of work, which is like 69 drawings, you know, altogether, it took me about a year to complete that. And when then I was trying to work the same way, it wasn't really working for me, you know. It wasn't flowing. The work just had a different energy, you know, and it didn't look like exactly what I wanted. So I was kind of carrying on and experimenting with different things and asking questions, looking at all the things I've created till now and series I've been working with. I decided that it's time to talk about not abstraction and look for art in things, and not fantasy and you know, imagination. I really wanted to talk about something real and authentic, because we all accessing imagination, but each of us has a different story. So I want to talk about my story, because that I think is what people are interested in more than anything else in art, you know.
So did the idea of painting these balconies come to you when you were in Poland or when you were in the UK and you were thinking about where you come from?
It's hard to tell, because this idea has been following me for a long time. And I'm still to paint the balconies I've been thinking about already for a long time. So I'm very excited that I finally started making a move towards it and working with this series. I've been doing lots of sketches in my notebooks, and yeah, I'm on a real mission. So there's lots to come.
I remember when you moved to Bristol, you had a studio, and now you are working from home. And I can imagine there are some advantages and disadvantages from it, like having the paintings accessible at all times, but also having more distractions. How do you feel about it?
It can be hard at times, and for sure it's great to have a studio, because that's your space to you know, to make. However, often you have to commute to get there, so you know, it's that just adds to the time you could be spending to make. I think I'm just very lucky at the moment having space to make at home, and it works for me, because then I can make whenever I want to. So I feel like I've got plenty of time, you know, I've got more time because of that. So yeah, I love the living making situation, yeah.